Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Glad you made it. It's another social production, boys and girls. Thank you for joining me. All over the place, baby. Thank you for joining once again. It is Wednesday, January 31st, 2024. What? Pew pew, pow pow, bang bang. Let's go. It's Wednesday. It's the man. Thanks for joining me. That's what I'm trying to say. If you've been with me from the get-go, sending all the love right back to you. If you're joining us, if it's your first time, if you just found out about these videos and you're like, man, where can I find more of these videos? You can find more of these videos if you follow me on Instagram, if you subscribe on the YouTube channel, help yourself, help your boy out, and you can check out patreon.com/RobSadra if you'd like to financially, fiscally support this little grassroots, little podcast that's just like slithering. That's like a little earthworm of a podcast that'll eventually eat itself and then eat other things and then evolve into larger species, hopefully, or decay and then contribute to, I don't know, it's whatever, dude. We might just who knows? We're part of the ecosystem essentially, but getting larger, getting bigger, one teeny tiny step at a time, and with your help. So wherever you're tuning in from, whether it's anywhere in Toronto, Canada, Ontario, over there in the West Coast, down in the middle, Alberta, what's going on? Wagwan, everybody in Saskatchewan, hello over there in Nova Scotia. If you're in Quebec, my Quebecois, my Francophones. Hello down south to the United States, folks. Further down south than that in Mexico. Mexico, say hey. Further down south in Argentina and South America, the Brazils, Peru, Chile, ironically named Chile, but it's actually quite warm, but nonetheless, skipping over there, or skipping over the ocean, what's going on? Hello. And Africa, over there in Asia, Europe, Middle East, Antarctica, New Zealand, Australia, China, Japan, Korea's plural, because there's two of them, Philippines, Singapore, Nepal, Guatemala, Italy, Iceland, Greenland. You get the gist of it. We're a global syndicate. That's what we do. So I hope you're having fun. I hope you're whatever you're doing. It's that we did it, baby. 1 month down, 11 more. Excuse me, I almost choked on my hazardous materials. Almost choked on my own spit there. Man, it would have gone viral if I actually choked and just fucking turned. Let's do that again. Let's Iceland, Singapore. Heimlich yourself. The first ever Heimlich to be recorded on a live podcast, on a podcast that's recorded with one take and then uploaded. So it's like not live, but like not dead either. It's we're fucking kicking. Let's do that again. You're choking. Let's take it from the choking. Heimlich yourself. Fucking Heimlich myself. I'll lick myself any day of the week. If I can. I try. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, what are we doing besides choking? We're having a good time, and if you're like, let me start with this. Let me get a sip of this coffee. Sip to the gang, first of all. I just want everybody to calm down, relax for a second. I wasn't actually choking. I know, you're like, man, we thought you were, but I wasn't. The first time I was, but the second and third time, no. But that's just fucking, nah, bring it in. If you're out there, if you are like your boy, if you're like your mans, if you're a lady that's like your mans, you might be like, we have more in common than we do have differences. I'll tell you this, ladies. I'll tell you this, fellas. If you're like me, this could happen to anybody. And I'm not saying it happened to me, but I'm saying it could happen to anybody. If you happen to let your bush grow, let that, let them, let the greenery down south in the nether regions run wild and then you go out and shave it, and that's fine. That's fine. We shave, we pluck, we wax, we do what we can to help the community. Do our part. And most often it goes smoothly. No nicks, no bumps, no bruises, no bleedage. Sometimes it does happen, but more significantly, what happens every now and again, if this happened to you, I'm not saying it happened to me, I'm just saying if it happened to you out there, you're not alone. Let's say you got ingrown hair. Okay, this is not a hair that you go It's not outgrown. This is not outsourced. This is not hair that this is not hair coming from like a village in India, chopped off of adolescent females' scalps because it's like virgin hair and it costs all this. So it's not like a fake wig, or it's not like a wig for your puss or for your peen. It's not one of those wigs. This is ingrown. So that's what I'm trying to say. This is not some sort of like, rare Asiatic hair that's like, and then this is not some like rare African hair that somebody had to grow long and wait, and then, for money, exchange it for money, and then send it over to you so you could have a little, little whiskers either on your scalp or down south or anywhere else for that matter. This is ingrown. This is what I'm trying to say. You get ingrown. You sometimes shave and you might get an ingrown. What is an ingrown hair? An ingrown hair, I'm glad you asked. One of those hairs that instead of poking its head out, it's the hair that says, you know what, I see everybody sprouting out and about out of the dermis, saying hello to the sun, saying hello to the world. But I'm gonna, what's underneath, man? We're always trying to look out. That's that one hair that says, you know what, it's time to look in. It's time to grow inwards. Because if you want to expand, and that's what it does. So it peeks its head instead of upwards, downwards in your skin. And you might not notice it the first couple of days, and it might come in after a few days in form of a little pimple or a zit or a little bump. Now, if this happens to you, the first thing I want you to do, step one of how to handle an ingrown hair. Step one, you see a bump. Hypothetically, again, this may happen to anybody on any given day. You see a little bump, it's a little bit reddish. First thing I want you to do is panic. Panic immediately. Start going through the Rolodex and start going through the dates. Let's go through where were we last Saturday evening between 7 to 11 p.m. Count the number of dates you've had. First things first, let's make sure that you want to make sure that this is not an STD. You want to make sure that this is not some sort of like, you don't want this to be the AIDS. You got to check for the AIDS. You don't want this to be but that's what I want you. I want you to panic and treat it as if it's AIDS. Okay, if you see the bump and you're like, man, I haven't had a date in like 4 or 5 months, doesn't matter. It's still AIDS. I want you to panic. And I want you to really think about the consequences of AIDS. Even you don't know, it might not be, but we'll figure it out one step at a time. So first step is panic. Go online and Google, or use any sort of search engine. Just be like, what is a little bump on my nether regions? What could that be? And I want you to start off with the worst, super AIDS, extremely aggressive AIDS that works out, AIDS that drinks protein shakes and takes creatine, AIDS that gets fucking a spotter to like help him out with the bench presses and the squatties, that kind of AIDS. The AIDS that maybe works out 2-3 times a day, that type of AIDS, not the type of AIDS that'll just, not that type of like 80s AIDS, with a little skull cap and cigs and just like an overcoat, not that kind of AIDS. I'm talking fucking like, modern day AIDS, good AIDS, the best of AIDS. So I want you to think if it's that, and work your way down, go through the STDs, all of them, chlamydia, the clap, the craps, syphilis, whatever, dude. Let's go through it. And I want you to think if it's any of those. If it's not any of those, after like 30 minutes, an hour of sweating, an hour just pondering, oh man, could it be the STD? After that, I want you to get involved. I don't want you to just leave. A lot of people will say, if you notice anything, if you notice a pimple, if you notice a bump or anything, don't touch it. But that's for people who can that's for people who are puss and have time for medical attention or resources for that shit. And here we take it, if it were to happen to your boy, not that it did, or maybe it did, fine, it did. This is a true story. This one's a true story. Okay, this is us fucking getting to know each other on another level. So let's just put all our cards on the table. Call a spade, call a pimple, call an ingrown hair, call it what it is. So after about an hour of just curiosity searching in your mind and your heart, and coming to terms, it could be AIDS, it could just be ingrown hair. I want you to get squeezing. You squeeze. They tell you not to squeeze. Some say they don't squeeze. Some say you should squeeze. I'm the squeezer type. If I see a pimple, I squeeze it because I want to set an example. I don't want this to be like This is not open borders where everybody just can just randomly show up and be like, oh, man, no, dude. We gotta one at a time. What's going on? Who are you? You know what I'm saying? I gotta scout the region just to make sure we're getting the good types in. So I see, what are we even talking about? Pimples, right? Yes. You squeeze it, and initially you might see a little bit of pus. That's a good thing. If you see pus, that's good. If you don't, keep squeezing. It hurts. I know, but keep squeezing till it oozes pus. You're looking for a mixture of whitish, creamish, yellowish, oozing pus. That's, and small doses. We're not talking, gushing pus, although I don't know. Maybe you let this ingrown hair grow forever inside you. Maybe it's a long overdue, checkup session for an ingrown. Maybe you have a 2-meter long ingrown. Hey, it's like 7 feet long inside of you. So I don't know. It might be fucking infested in there. But hopefully you nip it in the bud quick. What you do though, you squeeze, you get that yellow white pus out, and then after that, you want to reach for something sharp. Ideally something, get a tweezer. Clean it with a swift, movement of the old mouth. Like that. Just clean it nice and clean. Get the tweezers and start digging in there. So trying to get leverage. Try to get underneath it, and then you're probably going to start to bleed a little bit more. Okay, and that means you're close. This is nice. Ideally, you'd have napkins at hand, just within the proximity. So, every time you see blood, you see pus, you clean, you squeeze, you dig, you tweeze a little bit more. After that's not helping, if you notice, if it's like a half an hour, you've been digging, you've been fucking and you're still wondering, this could totally be AIDS, dude. But it could be ingrown hair. Don't give up your search. Search for something a little bit sharper, perhaps a sewing needle, as one might have for sewing emergencies. And I want you to grab that and clean it thoroughly, once again, using your mouth. Oh my God, I dropped this needle. Let me just pick it up from the ground and go ahead and clean it one more time. Nice. Now go to town with the sharp needle on your nuts, on the puss lips, on the labia minora majora, in your uterus, dude. I don't know where your hair is. Like, again, how deep does it go? On the tip of your cock? Hopefully not, but whatever. So you start digging, leverage, pop that little bad boy out. Nice. It was an ingrown hair. It's not AIDS. Yes. Or, oh no. Oh man. I was totally hoping it was AIDS, man. Again, ingrown hair. So disappointment or victory, joy, or, again, there's always next year. So I don't know what you're hoping for. If it's ingrown hair that your heart desires, so shall it be. If it was AIDS, you didn't get it this time, keep going. Please do not give up on your hopes and dreams. You can get it out there. I believe in you. And that's what you do. And then you continue to, again, once the ingrown hair is not popped out, you squeeze, you get a little bit more pus out, and boom, after your cock, after your vag looks like it's just been through a shredder, after it looks like it's been, in a UFC match, after it looks like it's been bruised up, you just, put a little ice on it, tell it, way to go, champ, and, we'll get him next time, sort of thing. Or you did good in there. We don't know. It might be a split decision. You don't know, dude. But after all, you got it out. That's the W right there. The takeaway is that nobody talks about this shit. And I, for one, I'd like to be of assistance. I like to be, if I can help, I do. So I'm not gonna leave my fellas and ladies out there. If you got ingrown hair, don't be ashamed. Get that pus out. Get something sharp. Make sure it's clean. Again. Nice. Do it that way. Sip, sip to the gang. Thank you for joining me again. So many exciting, beautiful, wonderful things are happening in no particular direction. I'll say this. Icon of the seas. The icon of the seas, ladies and gentlemen. The Royal Caribbean Group's largest cruise ship it's set sail from the port of Miami. I'm not sure how many ports they've got. I'm sure they've got plenty. It's a port city. It's port nation. There's a lot of ports, and the largest cruise ship took off, and it's going to be cruising around for about 7 days, and it's humongous. It got me. I like big things. I like anything big. You name it. I like it big, dude. The ladies, I like it big. Big is in. Medium size is in. Small, we're not talking about it. Doesn't it's not the size of the ship that matters, ladies. It's the waves that you ride that matters. How you ride the whole on. It's not the ship that matters, ladies. You could be in a paddle board. Be much safer in a larger ship. Okay, sometimes it's the size of the ship that matters. In this particular, in all other cases, in any other instance, if it was a metaphor, ships was a metaphor right now. We weren't talking about ships in actuality. I'd say that size doesn't matter. When it comes to the shipping game, though, when it comes to boats, when it comes to yachts, this is the largest one. It sets sail. It's amazing. It holds approximately 7,000 passengers, maybe 3,000 staff members with your captain and everyone. So you're talking about 5,000 to 8,000 people on this thing. It's roughly, I believe, the size of 4 city blocks. It's it's one of those things that got me excited. I do like it, but I like some things from afar. It's not that I like to be on it personally, just the thought of being on a cruise ship with 7,000 to 8,000 people stranded in the middle of a body of water. It just doesn't. I'm the type of fellow that I'll go places. I will but I like to be able to dip out. And the thing with ships in general, again, smaller, compact size of it, it's a different game. But if we're talking cruises, if we're talking specific, for me, I don't feel comfortable being with 7,000 or 8,000 people in the middle of water. We've all seen Titanic. What could possibly grow? It's I'm sure nothing's gonna go wrong, but I do wonder what will this is the first thing that my mind went to. I'm like, what if it does go down? What if something happens? And you're talking about now rescuing 7,000 to 8,000 people. How many extra little boats do you need? You need, God, how many staff men, how many choppers do we need on this, emergency rescue mission? Who knows? So if you're on this ship, if we've learned, and if I can remind everybody on the ship, if they do not engage in sexual activities at all, nobody is allowed to fuck on the ship. Because you go there, you start having a good time, all of a sudden, the sailors start noticing. The sailors start noticing, and then they tell the captain. And the captain notices, and they don't like it when you have sex on the ships, I think. This is all purely based on Titanic. And maybe there's maybe there's levels to this shit too. Maybe this ship has tiers. I don't know. Maybe there's the bottom tier, maybe there's the middle tier, and then maybe there's the top tier. If you're on the lower part of the ship, do not go to this. We watched Titanic. Do we know how this works? If you're on the bottom of the ship, do not go mingling with uppers. Do not go up there trying to be like. Do not go up to ladies telling them that you're gonna sketch them nude. The ladies, samesies for you. You don't go there with your sketchbook and be like, "Sir, I like to draw your cack." We've all seen this movie, but this is on a larger scale. So, except it's in the tropics. It's in the Caribbean region. It's in the So if it does go down, it might just be like, what? We're just gonna maybe this time, maybe people won't freeze. Maybe they'll be stranded in the middle of just pleasant temperatures and waters, just fucking peeing together. 7,000 to 8,000 people waiting to get rescued. 7,000 to 8,000 people peeing simultaneously. Within a few minutes of each other, not like exactly simultaneously, because that'd be extremely hard if you could just be like, all 7,000 passengers and crew members, we are gonna now urinate. How do you, it's hard to, it's now on the count of 3, and then somebody goes on 2, do we go on 3? I've already, is it a fake 1, 2, and then when I say 1, you go, it's hard to coordinate. But all I'm saying is maybe it will be the greatest of cruises that have gone down ever, and I hope it never does. But if it does, maybe they'll have the maybe this will be the reverse of Titanic. Maybe this is time for us to reverse the whole cruise ship narrative. Maybe this is us taking control and a little bit of agency back in the you can be like, it could be the new Titanic. It could be like, that ship sailed. That ship has sailed. And it did sink, but man, people, because it was in a hotter region, people had a great time and they were just hanging out there. Sure, their skin got like hella wrinkly. 20, 30-year-olds looking at 80-year-olds. Which is like, if you're an 80-year-old that looks like an 80-year-old, it's like nice. But if you're like 20, 30, wrinkly, look up. right there, dude, it makes me like gag, you know what I'm saying? So that could be a thing, but also, think about it. If you're doing it, shout out to you. Apparently the Royal Caribbean Cruise, or the Royal Caribbean Group Cruise, that's a lot of just, what the Royal Caribbean Group Cruise, that's rolls off the tongue right there. It's interesting because I did hear about this and I'm like to myself, I could do a little bit of boat time, but then I gotta touch land. I gotta touch the solids. I can't be just out there liquidating and fucking, getting rid of things. But the point is, they're doing a cruise that's apparently on a different boat that'll last 9 months, and apparently this thing's ongoing and people can like tune in and watch people's lives unfold on this cruise that's 9 months long. And it got me to think, would I be able to take it 9 months long being stuck on a boat with different peeps? Depends what we're doing it for, just for like, if you call me up on a random afternoon, like, you know what, pack your bags, we're going on a cruise for 9 months, I gotta get a little bit more deets. Is it just, that's a long time. What are the boundaries? What can you do, what can't you do? If, how many captains are on this ship? Are we dealing with pirates? Are we the pirates? Are we going to be kidnapping anybody? Are we going to be throwing anybody overboard? Are we going to be taking anybody on board? You see people out there, there's, somebody's drowning in the middle of the ocean, and all of a sudden, empathetic people on the boat are like, oh, let's save them. But full well, there's this limited amount of resources, and we're out here stuck 9 months. And who knows who these fools are? So, do you open up your hearts and be like, you know what, maybe we could eat a little bit less, we'll save a human life? Or do you be like, no, we're going to shut it down, we're going to, you got yourself in the middle of the water somehow, fella, trying to, import cocaine in the tons, you're trying to push weight, son, and you tell me all the product has sunk, and you want to get on this boat for free? How about you come back with the products, then maybe we'll think about it, you'll say something along the, or maybe, I don't know how people will react, just, standard thoughts that go through your mind. So that's happening in and around the world. It got me excited. It's a big, large boat. If you're on it, hell yeah. So have fun. Again, takeaways, or don't have, but like maybe all y'all should have sex. All y'all should have, because it's a large cruise ship. What are you going to do there if you're not having sex? Do it. Maybe this time reverse it. Maybe the captain has sex. Maybe everybody watches the captain this time. Reverse it. Have fun with it. But that's just, that's Sip Sip to the gang. Thank you very much for joining me once again. Caffeination, baby. Doing it together. Ladies and gents, boys and girls, I'll say this. People online were disappointed over the past few days. A little bit, there's been some, news popped up. I heard about it. I didn't look into it myself, but apparently there are deep fake porns of Taylor Swift all over the internet. I'm not sure if they took it all down. I heard about it. I've not, personally checked that stuff out, but I read about it and people were upset, and rightly so. I'm only going to try to, without having too much knowledge about the circumstances or the situations or the parties involved, I'm just going to try to, just do my best to see if I get it right. People were upset. Let's start with this. Deep fake porns. What is it? First of all, we're talking about depth. We're not talking about something that's, just fucking taking its sweet ass time in the shallow area of the pool. We're talking about depth. We're talking about length. We're talking about width. We're talking about height, perhaps. We're talking about we're talking about space. We're talking about depth. So we're talking about, soulfulness, or wholesomeness, or some with, it's not one of those like surface level, it's deep. Second part, fake with which it's not authentic, it means it's not real. So it means maybe it's artificial, that it's fugazi essentially. So you have deep fake. So you have two, actually that makes a little bit of a contradiction. But let's, because on one hand you have deep, thoughtful, oh man, and then on the other hand you have like, surface level, just like, oh, this is a knockoff. So it's like an oxymoron. It's like a little bit of a, it's like a paradox, if you will. But doesn't matter. Last part of this whole little situation. Let's go to porn. Porn. Everybody knows. That is short for pornography. And that is when people are in the nude and are videoed. They might do it themselves. They might have others do it. So we have deep, we have thoughtfulness, we have, just lengthy amounts of, whatever, the goodness. And then you have surface level, like, oh, this is inauthentic. And then you have porn. So you have a mixture of it. It's deep fake porn. So I don't know what it is. It's in there. It's fucking, you got to dig for this shit. It's not on the ground. I'll tell you that. It's fucking, it's beneath us. We're above it, I think. It's right under our nose, man. That's what it is. So deep fakes and people were upset, and rightly so, because why were people upset? From my understanding, people like authenticity. People like when, they're presented with genuine, real products. Rightly so. If I heard, so-and-so's got porns out there, I'd be like, is it the first thing that goes in? Is it for reals? I'll say that. If it's not for reals, I don't want to know about it. I don't want to see it. It's not this guy. So people were disappointed because, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people were like, oh yeah, TS porn, hell yeah, or TS porn. People were, and then they went on and looked, they clicked and saw images or maybe even videos, I'm not sure, explicit content, and they were fully disappointed because it was fake. And there's now talks about it. Should we, when you can have the real stuff, should you be distributing fake stuff? So I think that's what the conversation is about, I think. So yeah, people were, and I get it. Didn't you, it's like when you're a kid and you're like, oh, I really want a pair of Jordans, but they get you the fake Jordans. Or it's like, you're like, oh man, this month I had a really good month at the local office and I want to buy a Rolex, but at the same time I don't want to buy like a real Rolex because like it's about consistency and I don't know if I'm going to make this much, maybe it's best maybe I'll buy a fake Rolex, and then you buy a fake Rolex, and it's still, people don't even notice, but deep down inside it's a fake Rolex. I think it's the same situation. People are like, oh man, TS labia, and it's fake, it's not even her. So families torn apart, millions of people upset, angry, but I don't know how I feel about that. I say there's, I'll say this, if it was me and there was deep fake porn of me, I'd hope that whoever was in charge of it would, don't portray me as what you think would be portrayed normally. If you're gonna do something, like give me a large peen, please. Give me a humongous peen. Let it just be, at least it's, let it be at least, let me wrap it around let me bring it up like let me just, make it several feet long. I want to be able to play with it. It's not real, so let me at least just fucking like a long tail, but in front of me instead of behind me. So just like twirling it around, just flipping, just whacking mosquitoes, just, handing it over to people so that people can be like, oh, I got a runny nose here. You can use the tip of my long cock to wipe your, whatever. I'm there to help. Help somebody, we need to play jump rope real quick. Does anybody have rope? No, but I got this humongous large, 7, 8, 20 feet long peen. So you can use it. I'll stand on one end, you hold the other end, and people can skip. Oh man, we need to really hurry up and clothesline somebody. Does anybody have long rope? No, but I got this large 20 long feet peen that you could use to clothesline somebody. If that's, I'm a team player, I'll say this. Or make it extremely small, please. Make it extremely small. Either or. Don't go my reg size, dude. Just let me have this. Let me have this. Extremely tiny. Or just wipe it away, dude. Wipe it away. Let's just pretend. Do me like you did Ken. Just fucking no peen. It's because it's fake, dude. It doesn't even matter. Because it's fake. I'll say that. Should you do it? Should you not do it? If it's out there, people are always inquisitive. They're always curious about things. That I'm not gonna, if it's out, if I think this is something that it's hard to. I don't know which way they're gonna go, because we're talking about right now, but like in like 5, 10, 20 years, when you can just like literally blur it out whatever, and like the AI that you're interfacing with, or it's already in use, or you're interfacing with, you'll be able to create way more then you are probably capable. Like average people, like you don't need to be like, I'm guessing, I don't know, from my understanding, from a very surface level, not so deep understanding, you'll be able to like, sort of kind of program or create just saying stuff. Be like mesh, Cleopatra and myself doing it in ancient Egypt. The next thing you know, it's taking amalgamation of all the possible Cleopatras that's been depicted on the lines, mishmashing it together, putting you in some sort of like fucking ancient Egyptian attire, and now you're fucking banging out, and there comes Julius Caesar, and it's like, you can whatever, dude. You can mix it up. You can do it like whatever. So that's in the, could people do that in the future? Probably. Right now, should you be able to do it? Should you or not? I'm not saying should you or not. I'm saying could you, or like, I'm saying the tech is out there. So it is hard to, it's one of those things that like, because yeah, I don't know. Ideally, I would say that this is what I don't know how I feel about it, because I'll say this, it's becoming, this I guess coincides with my next little thing that I wanted to talk about. Like I read that in Japan, Tokyo, hello, my fellow Japanese people, as a full-blown Japanese person myself, I'll say this. As a full-blown Jamaican Japanese person, I'll say this. Japan is seeing a rise, a boom, a bang, a pop in silver porn, ladies and gents, and that is porn that is for the elderly, or the more experienced. I don't even like that term anymore, elder, because like, yeah, it's 65 is not what 65 was 65 years ago. 69, that would have been, oh man, it would have been way better if you just went with 69 initially. Let's just redo that for a second. Forget the part that I said 65. Let's just pick it up. 69 is no longer the 69 and the 69. Fuck, dude, damn it, next time. 69 isn't the 69 as 69 years ago. It's a brand new 69. 69 isn't the 69 as 69 years ago. It's 2024, it's a new 69. So silver porn is popping up. And it's not what you think. You think that it's a bunch of young folks going out there looking for silver porn, although that may be true a little bit, but apparently it's got to do with many different reasons. One, we're living longer, ladies and gentlemen. People, because yeah, 69 years ago would have been dead. I think most people would have been dead. But now 69 is like, oh, I'm just like, I'm just beginning to discover myself. I'm just beginning to, enjoy a little bit of the fruits of my labor. All right, what are we talking about? In this economy worldwide, what fruits of labor? Most people will be like 69. Man, I gotta still keep working. Nice. So at 69, you're spreading them legs, you silver foxes, you out there, you Japanese silver foxes, and you're spreading legs, and you're noticing there's a good market for it. And it's got reasons. With the reasons behind it is, one, we're taking better care of ourselves, which is nice. You're looking younger, healthier, the more vibrant. Your ovaries are still good. A little bit drier, let's not kid ourselves, but still good. None like really good. Way better than 69 years ago, dude. Way better, like still moist. Good ovaries. Every once in a while, it might still slip out an egg. It might still. If you just whisper to a proper, it might just be like, oh, no eggs, no eggs. I've been dry for 10 years. And then pop, fucking egg city, dude. It might be just like, oh, I'm holding on to the eggs and I'm going to release it all in one day. 12 eggs, 69. So I'll say that they're doing the porns at a later age, and it's becoming a thing. And people are cool with it. I'm cool. I like it. I'll say this. If you are going to do porn, I think... Here's the thing, the reason why I wanted to talk about a little bit about deep fake porn and like, people doing porn later in life and whatnot is, yeah, and with like privacy and, with now I just recently simultaneously, I did also read about the first Neuralink implant that went into a person's head this past Sunday. So we are merging a lot more with technology. We are sharing a lot more of ourselves, for better or worse. I don't know. I think it's just kind of like part of the evolution of our little journey that we're taking. But yeah, I think it'll just be like, I think porn in the it won't be as taboo as it's still. It's way better than it was in terms of like 20, 30, 50, 100 years ago. Like the first porn that came out was probably like in like 1907 or something, and it's just like you'll see like a black and white image of a of a French lady just like lifting her skirt from her ankles, and that was like, ooh, she's showing ankles, and then everybody was just like hard, dude. These gentlemen with like beards and no mustaches, just hard in France, seeing ankles for the first. So like we've we've transitioned, we are grown, we're always consistently growing, evolving. And that's, for better or worse, I don't know. I do like the aspect that it does take away the shame aspect of like sexuality. I do like that aspect of it. And it's nice because if you are gonna do porn, maybe don't do porn. Do porn whenever you like. If you like to do that, and I don't condone it. I'm not against it either. Consumer here, hello. So I'll say this: it gives you options, because back in the day, it used to be like, oh, this is a young man's game, or this is they didn't say that. Nobody said that. It was never a young man's game. It was always ladies had that game on a chokehold, but still. Now you can be like, man, this could be an old man's game. They won't say that. They'll never say that. But maybe they will. Who knows? Maybe the tides will shift. Maybe the tides will rise. Maybe yeah. Who knows? But if you're a lady and you were like, man, I only have a window to do the porns and make the banks between my mid-20s to my mid-30s, and then after that I'm gonna have to pretend I'm still in my mid-20s to mid-30s to keep bringing it in until one day I come up and just be like, you know what? I'm entering MILF category now. You know what I'm saying? But now you can extend that shit. You can wait till you're gray, till you're silver, and then do the porns. And then that way, there's nobody that will be like, because if you're younger, you might be like, I'm not quite sure how I'll react to this. Will I be okay with the consequences that comes with the money, with the moolah, the cheddar, the lifestyle? Will I be able to hold on to my monies? Will I be able to invest and potentially grow out of this? Maybe I'll grow into it. I don't know what you want to do with your life. But now you have options. Instead of like, oh, if you're younger, you might think, what will my children think? Wait till you're older. Wait till you're way older. And that way you don't have to worry about any of that. You could just be like, I don't even have, my kids are all grown. And what about your grandkids then? What about then by that time, your grandkids generation is not going to be the generation that's mostly opting into, silver porn, unless that's like unless some of them are, unless the word gets out, you pop, you're huge, you make the fucking industry just fucking turn its head upside down, and it's ass inside out. So you revolutionize the game, and all of a sudden silver porn is the shits. So I don't know, overall I'm for it. I do like the emancipation kind of concept behind it, that it's like, yeah man, if you want to do it, I supports it. Would I, if you have to go, if you're like 80, and that's the thing, it's not just 60-year-olds, it's well into like 70s and 80s. So if you're like 80 years old, dude, and you've harpooned a bunch of bad fishes on your fishing trips, you fucking went down a well, you've done you've brought the exports, you've brought the imports, you've shook the hands, you've done your time, nice. But now it's just nice to make a little bit of cha-ching for yourself. So at the ripe old age of 80, you can spread them legs and let them hang as low as you like. You've earned it, fella. You've earned it, lady. And people will pay good money for it. And that is questionable. As to how much the money is good, that is questionable. Again, it depends how hard you want to work, because there is plenty of other competition, I'll say this. So, but it's nice. But it is nice. It is nice. So if you're going to do, now you have options. That's what I'm trying to say. If you're like, man, oh no, my window of opportunity for porn is only between like, I got a good, it's like fighting. It's like either fighting or even, or an athlete. Fighting is, that's the most extreme example, but you're like an athlete. You're like, oh, as an athlete, I only have 5 to 10 years to, maximize my potential. This, and in terms of like frame of windows, similar situation. Now you can be like, you know what, I can do it till, I can start in my 20s and 30s and go all the way up to, 90s, 100s, or wait it out, build whatever you want to build, or don't, just live your life. And then at 90, just be like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do old man porn. I'm going to do young, I'm going to do young at heart, but old man porn, or old lady porn, which is nice. I supports it. Congratulations. We did it together. Sip, sip to the gang. I'll say this. The Neuralinks being implanted in people, I want one, not the chip, not for myself. I want one of them's that's got I want them. Because they're not human anymore, dude. This isn't the first time we've done this. Stephen Hawking was kind of like, it's a prominent name that like people are like, oh, he's so smart and all that. He was smart and all that jazz. But he was like meshed with if it wasn't for the computer, you wouldn't have Stephen Hawking, is all I'm saying. You know what I mean? So we are pushing forward to, this is the beginning. This is the rise of the singularity, I guess you could say that in a sense. We are chipping people with brain implants, and now they can, if they, sometimes you might have, this is great for like if you aren't able to control body parts, let's say, this is great. You could just send a signal. So like, guys, my fellas, dudes, you just, you just had the sex, and like now you got to wait around for the second round to come about, and you're like, give it time, it'll come around, and she might lose her horny, which sucks, dude. But now you don't need to worry about it. You can just send a signal to your neural link that'll send a signal to your neurons, and like, and then the signals will be fucking popping in your brain, and then messages will go from your brain to your peen, and an instant erection, instant. So Neuralink can fix that, I think. I think that's what it's there for. Or, or people, or whatever, dude. People who have lost, mobility or, control of their muscles, thems too. But I'm talking about like, real change. So that's right around there. But I want one of these fellows or ladies, but because that's like also having access to a half human, half robot, which is nice. That's a good fellow or lady to befriend. I'm on your side, fellow or lady. I don't know. I did hear about it, that the first implant was made on Sunday. And I want to say, if you end up taking over the world from the get-go, I want to say I'm a huge fan. If you figure it all out in one set, if you just sit around one afternoon and the next week and figure it all out and somehow like, just fucking Monopoly City this bitch and just fucking take over, I just want to say we're on the same page, homie. I support it. I'm on your side, lady. I full rights for human cyborgs, dude. Full human cyborg rights, dude. I say free the cyborgs. That's what I say. If you happen to do well. If you happen to have a malfunction, I don't want to see your face. I don't want to have anything to do with. Do not mention my name. If you happen to malfunction and do wacky shit out there, and nothing to do, I don't want you to. Don't even come near me. But if you happen to succeed, I do want to say that I like to befriend you, and I'd like to say that I've been supportive right from the get-go. But again, if you lose your shit for whatever reason, dude, and you start fucking just going AWOL on people, I don't want to see you. I don't want to hear about your face. I've never known you, never liked you from the beginning. But again, if it goes well, I just want you to know that you have my full support. So having said that, welcome to the new age of Cyborg City. Welcome to the fucking Neuralink world, baby. We're doing it. People are going to be greater at maths. People are going to be greater at sciences. People are going to be just like fucking, we're going to be Emoji City, son. We're just going to be staring into space like a bunch of like full-blown, you know what it is, baby. Fucking out there. Full-blown. Just no eye contact, all the messages. But that's something that's going on, and it's exciting, man. I'll say this: that's exciting. That's happening. I'm looking forward to see what happens next. People are working hard, and I love it. People are doing amazing things in tech, in sports, and just globally. We're doing it with individuals on a daily basis. There's so many heroes out there, just doing that they don't get the thanks. Like everyday people, and you're wondering who are these everyday heroes? Some might say that the everyday heroes might be teachers. They go out there and try to with everything that's going on in and around the world, try to get the best information, try to be of assistance in a young person's development so that they can go off into the world and become contributing members of society. Some say that those guys could be viewed as somewhat heroes. Others say might be, a police officer might be, getting paid not so well. The budgets are always cut. They're underfunded, but they still go out there and deal with the worst kind of scenarios on a daily basis. Domestic disputes, cat on a wall, cat on a tree, cat on a hat, cat on my badge, cat in my ass. All sorts of circumstances. Domestic dispute, cat on a house. Gang members fighting over a dice game. Gang members fighting over a dice game that never got going because they didn't have enough money to buy the dice. Gang members fighting over a dice game that never even took place, but they just, they thought that somebody owed somebody money, and a dice game would be a good reason to, invite them over and not have a dice game, but fucking go right there. Dealing with drug cartels, dealing with all sorts of gangs, dealing with murder, with double murder suicides. Suicidal murderers, a double murder, a triple murder, homicide, suicide, murder, double. all of it mixed together. So they see all these things, and then they got to do it, and in the nighttime and the evenings, and some might say that they get underpaid, they get treated not so bueno out there, and but when you need them, you want them there, and they look good in their uniforms. You know what I'm talking about? Uniforms. But that some might say that those are type of like. Others might say there might be firefighters, same situation. Oh, there's a house on fire, there's a whole building on fire, and these beautiful, sexy, gorgeous motherfuckers who like to get into gear and slip and slide up and down poles each and every day. When you don't see them, they are slipping up the pole, dude, practicing, so that when it comes time for an emergency, a fire emergency, they can slide up and down as many times as necessary, but they don't get the thanks. Some people might say those are the heroes, but to me, the real heroes, it's, some might say it's the men and women in the army or the Navy, keeping our borders safe, keeping our nation. Some might say it's those fellows or ladies who make the biggest of sacrifices. But I say beyond that, there is a greater hero out there, a select group of individuals, a tiny minority, which doesn't get the recognition, doesn't get the credit, and people don't. Who am I talking about? These heroes that they don't. I'm talking about people that gather. You might have seen this, and it's been happening more. It's happening more and more. But these heroes they take my breath away. It makes me. I get choked up sometimes. Talking about people who throw soup or paint at famous paintings. These are the real heroes of our modern day society. Because think about it. Look at this. They want to talk about yeah, sure, you could go, you could go fight villains, you could go fight fire, you could go try with all the bullshit that's out there and like really give an education to you could do that, or and that's puss, dude. That is puss. Or you could try to control all the air. All of it, dude. The weather, the air. Look at all this around us. All this air. Try to control it, doggy. I challenge you to try to control. It is so. It's a thankless job. These people are trying to, and they are fucking scooping air and weather and just fucking a little bit there, a little bit up the crotch, a little bit up the peen hole, a little bit up the badge, a little bit in the belly button, like wherever, dude, in your ear, just trying to gather and control. And it's so frustrating because people think it's easy to make soup. People think it's easy. First of all, most of these guys and gals probably don't know how to cook. They probably don't even know how to make soup. So think about how the lengths that they'd have to go to get the soup. The asking for somebody else's, most likely, they're not out there, most likely, probably not where these guys are not probably working, because so they're using most likely somebody else's money. I'm gonna say moms, dads, who are facilitating the soup or the paint or whatever else, or just they go squeeze sometimes they might even squeeze a damn bunch of, they might get a family of skunks and just squeeze the skunks until all the juices of the skunk is placed in a bottle, and they might go and spray a painting with a skunk ass juice, dude. So they might, and they don't get that. That's the thing. So when you're out there wondering who's getting the credit out there, who's doing the heavy lifting in modernity in our society, please look at these heroes who have, they're contributing to limits beyond our imagination, because that's, and nobody, and that's the thing, man. Old painters, old artists, these fucking dirty CO2 contributors, these motherfuckers that I'm so glad that they're not even here right now, dude. Because that's what it is, dude. That's what you get. You go out there and you create something beautiful that impacts the world for generations and generations, just brings people together for whatever reason. I don't get it, but they look at it and they stare in groups and they go have deep discussions of what it is to be human and what it is to engage in the arts and stuff. But then you have people who see way beyond that. They're like, no, Change comes from soup and splashing old paintings with soup, and that's the thing. This is very similar vibes to like it's. So if you like, essentially, if you don't appreciate that, you basically don't appreciate the Taliban going out there and like, you know, or ISIS or whatever. So basically what you're trying to tell me, if you don't get what these guys are doing, is you don't get what the Taliban and ISIS members do when they go out there and like, you know, chip away and just like burn through, you know, world possessions, materials that are, you know, oh man, this is a piece of art, this is literature, this is, you know, it's a nice statue, you know. So if you don't see what these guys are doing, what these gals are doing, then you clearly don't get what ISIS and the Taliban likes to do as well. And if you can't, you know, if you can't be supportive to that, I say, man, open up your eyes, man. It's easy to be like, it's easy to point fingers. It's easy to, so open up your eyes. That's what I say. But outside of that, I like to say this. I like to get a sip of this first of all. We do want to be always creating little competitions, little games, little this, little that, so that people could get engaged. And I want to just introduce you to an all new game out there. It's called, I want you to out there, if you're out there and you got a nice queef game, if you're out there queefing, I challenge you to a queefing duel. The name of the game is Top Queef. Top Queef, where contenders get in position and they will be tested, pushed to the limit in all aspects of their capabilities: physical, mental, spiritual, biological, chemical, physical, mind stuff, spiritual, physical. We've gone through that, nice. So they will be pushed through all those different limits, and they will, and then one day, when everybody comes out there to compete, to see who's got top queef capabilities, everybody can talk a big talk and walk a big walk. No wait, everyone can talk a big talk. Everyone can talk and walk. Everyone can talk and talk, and everyone can walk and talk. Everyone can walk and, you get it. Everyone can talk and walk, but can you walk and queef? Can you talk and queef? Can you queef behind your head? Can you queef with your hands behind your back? Can you queef in the dark? Can you queef with your eyes closed? Can you queef with your hands being handcuffed to a chair, to a series of chairs? Can you queef with no shoes on? Can you queef with the most shoes on? Can you queef without having any sort of food? Can you queef with all the food? Can you queef the loudest? Can you queef the most? Oh man, it's so faint. I can barely hear this queef. Can you queef in silence, essentially? And contestants will get a chance to go head to head, or badge to badge, really, to find out who really is the top queen or a top queef queen of this competition. I say it's high time we put an end to the ambiguity, because a lot of people like to go out there and claim that they're top queef, but I like to see it in person. So if you're out there and if you think you got the goods, sisters, let it roar, let it be heard, let it be felt. And that's what I like to say. That's where my heart is at today. And I'd like to say thank you for joining me once again. If you've been with me from the get-go, sending all the love right back to you. Once again, where can you find these videos? Every Wednesday and Friday. They're dropped on where? Instagram. Follow me there. Subscribe on YouTube for the full-length videos. Check out patreon.com/RobSadri if you'd like to fiscally, financially support this show. Once again, subscribe on the YouTube channel, because you get the whole catalogs, dudes, ladies, gents. Love you all out there. Be good to yourselves. Whatever you're doing out there, go get it. Keep on queefing in this queefing world, baby. Together, we're doing it one step at a time. I'll be back here again on Friday. Love you all. Peace out.